Now we have another breaking update where, in response to Donald Trump's remarks, European nations have hit back at Trump's tariff warnings. The President Ursula states territorial integrity and sovereignty are fundamental principles of international law. The tariffs would undermine the transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. The UK Prime Minister also has said our position on Greenland is very clear, applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. The French president also has gone on to say that no intimidation nor threat will influence us. Tariff threats are unacceptable and have no place in this context. Europeans will respond to them in a united and coordinated manner if they were to be confirmed. We will know now how to uphold the European sovereignty. Joining us now is senior News 18's Akanksha Sarup. Akanksha, thank you for joining us. And now this is a very extraordinary escalation and quite unprecedented, taken from a head of state's warning. Now, how realistic is it that Trump has remarked something like this and for him to openly use tariffs as a way to buy a foreign territory?
Right, Shreya, the use of tariffs and the threat of tariffs is not new to Donald. Realistic as him slapping a 10% penalty on the European nations, as he's already mentioned in that post, that it will be, in fact, France, Germany, Sweden, Finland, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, all of these countries which have currently vowed to stand by Greenland, all of them being NATO members as well, will be slapped with a 26%, in fact, a 10% penalty to begin with from February of this year, and which he's also gone on to threaten will be increased to 25% penalty starting June of 2026. But the NATO nations are not backing down. In fact, as much as Donald Trump's threats to take over Greenland have exposed the NATO unity and the credibility of the security alliance to be able to protect Greenland, they are now in a state of huddle, and that is why those reactions, in fact, coming in, whether it is of the EU President Ursula von der Leyen, the French President Emmanuel Macron, or even the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, they all have now collectively vowed that they will stand by Greenland, and they will continue to protect Greenland, and especially given the fact that they regard it as Danish territory. And Ursula von der Leyen has rightly highlighted that territorial integrity and sovereignty are in fact fundamental principles of international law, and it is currently very essential for Europe and for the entire international community as a whole to protect Greenland. At the same time, you have a very firm response coming in from the French president himself, who's gone on to, in fact, say that tariff threats are unacceptable and no form of intimidation or threat will influence NATO as an alliance, neither in Ukraine nor in Greenland nor anywhere else in the world when they are confronted with such situations. So Donald Trump's threats to take over Greenland have currently tested the transatlantic relationship between the United States and, of course, NATO as an alliance. NATO, remember, after that summit that had happened in the White House, which was presided over by the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, and was also attended by the foreign ministers of Greenland and Denmark. So this is what had been decided, that they will come up with a working committee which will meet. At the same time, Greenland had assured that if security is indeed a threat to Donald Trump, because he's, remember, said that this is an issue of national security for the United States because Russia and China are trying to make inroads. So NATO and Denmark all have been of the view that they will increase the military presence, for which Germany, Sweden, Norway, and France have already guaranteed military troops to be increased, to have more boots on the ground. Currently, Greenland already commands a strength of 56,000 security personnel, which the NATO said will be increased. But that doesn't seem to have convinced the U.S. president, who's digging in his heels, maintaining that they will take over Greenland, as we all know, it is not really a matter of national security. Because of melting ice, Greenland is now giving way to, say, new shipping routes, a new passage, and of course critical minerals also, which is now a huge point of concern for the US president, who, as we all know, has been a real estate mogul, and for him any territory is just his territory if he wishes to take over, irrespective of what the international law says about territorial integrity. And he could very well be using Russia and China to justify his claims. But at a point when there is already a war going on in Ukraine, there is extreme instability in the Middle East. Donald Trump is risking his own bilateral relationship with a transatlantic alliance like the NATO, and things don't really seem to be going well for both.